Well, hello, and welcome to chapter 70. I need to check that the mic was recording. Chapter 70 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind, this one called the 15th century, which is the century that we are in. Yeah, I'm not kidding. In Persian New Year, we are in the 15th century. I just messed that up, didn't I? Um, First of all, Happy Nowruz if you are Iranian or celebrate Nowruz like me. It happened, I think, on Sunday evening. And yeah, I'll get to it a little bit later, but it's not been very fun. Mostly because of my antisocial behavior, but we'll get to that. First of all, our drink today is Coke, regular Coke, but it is in a can. And not just any can, this is a 150 milliliter can. It's basically a gulp, but it's incredibly cute how tiny it is. Like, wow. It is so tiny. Like, it fits in my hand. Oh my god, it's so cute. I'm gonna open it now. It probably will be gone in like a gulp or two, but oh, that that sounded good. But yeah, it's cute, and because of how tiny it is, and this is something I've gotten into recently because of the YouTube crafters that I watch, it makes the perfect sort of like tanker, like those big oil barrels or something like that you would have. So I'm thinking I might keep these. There is another one in the fridge. I might keep these, and I had the idea of a tanker car. I'm developing a world. I'll get to that later. No, not in this episode. Maybe in a later episode. It's Coke. It tastes like Coke, but it's just tiny. So, um, again, this is the new century. And I realized in my speaking with other people of other cultures, there is not a lot of talk about Nowruz traditions. For those of you who don't know, Nowruz is a period of 13 days, nearly 2 weeks in spring. It's the Persian New Year, so we are now in the year 1401, aka the 15th century. And I remember this joke someone said, I don't remember who, it says the Middle Ages in Iran. And I love that joke. It's just so specific. So, in Nowruz, you typically, aside from have seen, which I think everyone kind of knows, it's 7 things on a spread that start with Persian S, like Seb or apple or, stuff like that. You tend to go to your family's house. Now, in the last 2 years, we didn't because of COVID. We didn't. I just stayed home. But this year, most of my family is vaccinated. I am vaccinated. There was no way of escaping it. Basically, we went to my grandmother's house and a couple of my aunts. And probably later today, I might go to another aunt's house. I'm recording this at 1:15 a.m. by the way, which is actually 12:15 a.m. because we use daylight saving time. Fucking hell. So, yeah, and I am not a very social person. Like I can manage myself pretty good in them, but I don't like them. Like I get incredibly bored, incredibly frustrated, incredibly fast. And I use the word incredibly too much. There's this thing, by the way. First of all, a bit of a side note: the Jafar Khan video, which was supposed to be done today, because I only 3 days until March 28th. I don't think I'm gonna reach that. I think I'm gonna shoot for. Is March 31 days? It is. So I'm gonna sort of shoot for April 2nd. Why? Because that would be the last day of Nowruz. It would be Sis Davida. But, if there is time, I might do it. But, that's the thing. The script isn't even done yet. There is a big part of it still not made. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. That was disgusting. I don't know why I did that. Don't hold it against me. Um, but there is this thing I realized while I was writing the script. I use adjectives again very much. Like this outrageously, incredibly. And when I noticed it, I couldn't unnotice it. Hopefully, this means my next scripts are going to be even better. Or I will be so self conscious that I will never write anything ever again. Both are equally as possible, let's not rule any of them out. So, um, I can get myself by, but I'm not very good at them, and they drain me very much. One of the reasons the script took so long was that, again, for 3 days I wasn't at home. I would go out to my father's house, my grandmother's house, my aunt's house. And by the time I got home, I was just so tired of everything. I just wanted to lay down and play a game or something, which I didn't. I just watched YouTube. A lot of YouTube, by the way. I literally before starting recording this, I was watching Bill Making Stuff, which is a channel I highly recommend. I'm gonna actually write you can check it in the description. I'm gonna write it for myself, so I remember to put a link to it in the description. Bill Making Stuff. And let me take another sip. I sort of started to wonder where all of these traditions come from, because a big theme in the Jafar Khan video is traditionalism and compliance to them. And the few of them I know have like historical roots. The half scene has a historical root. It's supposed to sort of signify, how do you say, wealthiness, you know? Because you have these 7 things, and this is why a lot of people tend to have like big elaborate half scenes, because it's basically your way of saying, yeah, I have a lot of money, and declaring it to the world. It's also supposed to hope for more wealth and more well-being to come by adding a lot of natural stuff. Nature is a big theme in Nowruz too. Like the last day of Nowruz is called Sis Davida. You would go to nature and just have a picnic. That is part of it. The familial thing, I have a lot of ideas. I should read about it more. I should do a lot of more research in it. I didn't. Uh, that's my problem. I think part of it is trying to basically keep the practical reason for it is trying to keep the relationships that you kind of ignore through the year, mostly familial relationships. But by the end of it, I think there is also the theme of forgiveness, because that's a big theme. You're supposed to forgive stuff, forgive all of the, misdeeds that you've done or have done to you, but bury the hatchet, as it were. So going to these family gatherings, meeting the people who may have done the worst stuff to you, means that you're forced to meet them and kind of forgive them. Now that doesn't always work. It's been so long since I've met my mother's family, because they are a bunch of, I'm sorry, I don't think my mom will listen to this, pieces of shit, some of them. Huge pieces of shit. Like one of them, her uncle, I would beat up if I ever see again. And I'm not a violent person, so it takes a lot to make me want to beat up someone. They need to be really bad. And he is. He's a true asshole. So, I think that's the idea. This is an extension of the Jafar Khan video, I guess. I sort of have been complying to a lot of traditions without really understanding why or what is behind them. And it happens to be a lot behind them. I don't know, just food for thought, I guess. I'm gonna take another sip. I had a bag of chips before recording, and I'm incredibly thirsty. For the record, it was salt and vinegar chips. So, another thing I want to talk about is what this new century actually means, you know? Um, Basically nothing. I know New Year is mostly an arbitrary thing that we assign to a time of the year and saying, oh, this is where everything is gonna get better. You know, you have it with Christmas and then you have it with Novus. It means nothing. But it's a good idea to look back at the century that we had because it wasn't very good. At the beginning of it, you have actually, and the year 1300, Reza Khan becomes Reza Shah Pahlavi, which would be around 1921. Um, and Then you have World War II, the Anglo-Soviet invasion of Iran. Then you have the Ajax TP coup d'etat, uh, or how do you call it? Yeah, the Ajax TP. If you don't know what that is a coup d'etat against Mohammad Mossadegh, the Iranian prime minister, and putting Shah again in power. Which, I mean, great job, Western powers. You fucked up another. I mean, I'm saying that like they didn't do it. Yeah, that the whole history of Middle East in the last 2 centuries is basically getting fucked with by European powers and American powers and Russia. So they have fun. And then you have that in I think 1960s. I'm not sure. It might be 1950s because 1979 you have the Islamic Revolution and all of the problems that had with it. So it has been a turmoilful not year, century. And right at the tail end of it, like in 1398, you had COVID, which, I mean, that is a great way to end the century, isn't it? There is this idea, there's this, I don't know if it's a superstition, it's not a tradition, basically. It's saying that, I don't know if this is, I know it's the same because they have that big ball coming down and the countdown, the New Year countdown. Our New Year doesn't happen like at the 12th a.m. of the first day of the year. It has a, I don't know how they calculate it. I know there is a way because it's consistent, but I don't know how they do it. It has a certain time, and we call it Salat Tahvil. We call it no, not Salat Tahvil, Sal Tahvil, which is Tahvil Sal. And it's the moment when the new year begins and the old year ends. And it's signified by a cannon. I'm not even kidding, like it's a big cannon that shoots. There's actually a square in Tehran called Tubkhune, which used to have this big cannon in it. And they do that. They would shoot the cannon out of it. And the cannon sound would signify the beginning of a new year. And that meant, again, beginning of a new year. And there is a superstition that whatever you are doing at that very moment when they shoot the cannon will mean, will sort of cement your fate for the whole year, which is why it is customary, and this part is tradition, that you should be around have seen the spread of wealth and nature that you've put on around that time. So it sort of signifies that, oh, you're going to have a fun time throughout the year. It's superstition. We know that doesn't work. But I was thinking at it in a more macro scale. imagine if that worked for the century itself. Whatever you're doing at the beginning of the century is how it would cement your faith. And at the beginning of the 15th century, we have COVID. So hopefully that is not going to be this fate we're going to have for the whole century. But we don't know. We are in the Iranian Middle Ages after all. And in the European one, we had plague. Now we have COVID. I mean, history repeats itself. I'm going to take another sip. By the way, this is gulp size. I'm taking like very small sips. This is why I have a lot left. It's not like, oh, he lied and it's a family pack of a Coke. It's not. I had a family pack of a Coke yesterday, and actually the bottle is here. It was Coke Zero, because I actually like the taste of Coke Zero better. I know, I'm weird. And I'm sorry, my skin is a mess. So yeah, then it is kind of a good end paper, and the last page of the book, for 1400, it's over. And looking at it again, it's arbitrary. It doesn't mean anything. But it is still a hopeful lookout, Oh, we are in a new century now. What is going to happen? I've talked about my plans for 2022 way back in the beginning of the chapter, beginning of the season. And I usually plan myself based on that. So the new year, the 1401 really doesn't have any bearing other than a very well-deserved 2-week holiday that I managed to make myself hate with putting some work on it. The Jafar Khan video, which will happen. Actually, the script is good. Like, I'm really enjoying it. It has a lot of historical stuff, which I think people will find interesting. And a good analysis at the end of it, a good conclusion at the end of it. Yeah. I think I talked for 17 minutes and I didn't say anything. Is that true? I don't know. You tell me. There is another thing, by the way, and I don't know how this happened. My phone is dead. I can't read it to you. I will talk about it next week. For some reason, I have forgotten to put the Castbox notification on. And so I have gotten a comment there that I didn't notice I got it. It was for my birthday episode, which was chapter 67, What Wonderful World to Have a Quarter-Life Crisis in. I'm still writing down notes for this season, and hopefully I will keep on doing that. It just makes everything go so much more smoothly. My phone is dead. It's charging. I can't turn it on in time. So I will read it next time, but I have made the notification. I have put the notification on, so I will get an email when I get a new comment on the episode. I'm just going to apologize for that. I don't know if that's I'm just going to apologize for that. And on that note, don't forget to send me a message on Anchor. Your message, a voice message, will be played at the beginning of the next episode, and you might shape a whole episode around that. If you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the good stuff. And if you're listening to this on any other podcast platform, Castbox, for example, go ahead and make a comment. I'm going to pretty soon go on a sweep and see if I missed any other one and put on the notification for them. It's a problem I have. I have tunnel vision in the sense that I get focused on an outlet, and it's like all that. I'm focused on Anchor, so that is all that I see. That's a problem. I am working on it. And hopefully by next week, which will be still in the middle of the news, a day before the 13th, I can give you the link to the Jafar Khan video. If not, it will happen the week after that. With that said, I will see you all next week, and happy Nowruz again.